Welcome, everyone. It's Eric Imes. We want to welcome you to a brief discussion on some of the improvements that we've been making to the Level 4 course. Our goal is to turn PRRT into a household name. We need your help with this. We need your support. Your community and your patients need your support. Joining me today, we have two PRRT master instructors. Frank has over 47 years of physical therapy experience. He's been using PRRT for 20 years, just like Mark, who's been using PRRT for 20 years and teaching for close to 20 years as well. Mark was one of our main assistants in San Diego, and both of these two are coming together as our master instructors for the upcoming Level 4 seminar. Please help me welcome Frank Fantazzi, Mark Kurganov. How are you two today?
Very good, thank you.
Fantastic. Nice to see you guys. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Frank, I wanted to start with you. Can you talk about some of the new and exciting techniques? We have close to over 30 techniques that we've added to Level 4. That means that some of the content has been shifted into Level 5 now. So we wanted to get you on to discuss some of this new and exciting stuff that's been added. So please feel free to jump in and tell us all about it.
Well, Eric, I like talking concepts at first, because conceptually, we know that the human body is all one unit. And in the words of Zachariah Salazar, the neuromuscular system is in a constant state of comparative correction. And whatever neural input we do or put into that system changes everything. So wherever we treat it, we look at the body as a whole unit, and we're trying to show or demonstrate in this course how treating this affects the whole system and creates better effects for you. So in demonstrating the global effects of these techniques and how to apply them in your practice, we hope this is done in a recipe or a linear type fashion so that you make it easy to use and relevant.
Mark, can you
conceptually?
That's definitely fits with what I was experiencing myself, is having the techniques from Level 4 and having some of the protocols. I find it fascinating that, Frank is almost, created his own separate protocols, but then he managed to take those protocols and put them into a system. And I find that that's another level of graduation to our PRRT students, because we're keep evolving and keep stacking things one on top of the other. So it seems to me like right now we're designing, or Frank was able to design things that are affecting the system globally. And I was fascinated when I was taking the level. There is few things that stood out for me that almost seems to be foundational. So one of the things that we're going to be talking about in the class is going to be a lower extremity kinetic chain. And actually, I would like for Frank to explore maybe a little bit in details, because you were describing it as a concept of reflexive chain of events. So I wanted to hear it from you. Like, how would you share it with the students right now?
Well, we all know the major reflex in the body is fight or flight. So this whole body response to this peaceful existence and or survival in our lives causes a cascade of events that throughout the autonomic nervous system, as well as the neuromuscular system, to put it into fight or flight. And the immediate response is in the lower extremity, where the foot is plantar flex and everted, and it goes up the lateral chain of the body to the hamstrings, the quadriceps, the hip flexors, the hip abductors, external rotators, throughout the torso and into the cervical spine. So when we treat that lateral chain, we're affecting that entire chain, and we can realize changes by just treating the lower end of that chain or the upper end of that chain. We have in the past had muscle trains or myofascial trains described, but this is different. This is a reflexive kinetic chain. So it's reflex dominated, and therefore it has an effect from PRRT, how it affects that whole chain. The interesting thing about this is almost becomes an algorithm. If there is something stuck somewhere along that chain, you will get return of pain, or you'll get increased symptoms and or tenderness returning to areas that you didn't expect. So now you can go down the chain and check, where is this possibly occurring? And I have more insights to add to that whole concept of just the lateral chain, but we have to consider the other side as well. So I have other ideas I want to implant that weren't included in the last level 4, but I'm going to include them in this level 4 class. And I think they will become even more helpful for helping clinicians in their day-to-day issues.
I think that's going to be an amazing experience for everybody. And I think that every time, we're evolving and we're learning so much more. I even have, as you were talking about, something popped into my head and I'm willing, I wanted to share with you. It's kind of neat the way you describe it right now. I recently had a client and I was working with her for a few times. And on this last visit, she came in and she was complaining a little bit about her hip and IT band. And what do? I go to the Frank's protocol. So I'm like, okay, let me see what else I can tease out. So I start investigating things from the lateral kinetic chain. And I found a couple of nuggets and started correcting them and everything. And I thought that everything was fantastic. I checked on how her body responded with the upper cervical rotation, and it was a great session. Nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. And then I finished up the session and she set up. So I said, well, I want you to compare before and after, see what it feels like when you're standing, when you're walking, and everything else. She started moving around. And as a part of the description, she said, wow, things are doing so good. Maybe next time we can address that thing that I have when I can't put my hand behind my back. And as she was describing it, she put the hand behind her back. And the look on her face was, but I can't do this usually. Like she literally was like in shock. She's like, wait a minute, I couldn't do that. We didn't work on the shoulder. How did we get there? And I had to take the time to actually pause and explain to her the connection reflexively in a connective chain and how can it affect everything in the body. It was an amazing experience for her. And it was also one of those moments for me that, it was absolutely incredible to have that kind of results thanks to your protocol. So
well, I'll give you another. That's a great example, Mark, and thank you. I saw a woman the other day, and I'm not in practice. This is just friends calling me up and saying I need some help. So, a friend of mine, his wife had what he's described as shin splints. When I evaluated her, it wasn't typical shin splints. It was more like a tendonitis of the tibialis anterior. And she's a CrossFit trainer and all that and working out. But from just saying, okay, well, that's her foot and leg, let me just look at your neck. Well, my neck, I've had chronic neck pain. And I said, yeah, well, and then your shoulder's elevated and this is rotated. And then I get down to her elbow and she says, yeah, I've had that elbow pain. So I treat her foot and leg and then I treat her neck and then her elbow pain is gone. And she's like feeling better. Her tenderness is still there because I can't take away the inflammation right away. So I used some kinesio tape and supported her, and I'll see her again. I gave her some anti-inflammatory, told her a topical anti-inflammatory to help with that tendonitis. So I haven't checked back. That was just yesterday. So interesting how I got into the whole history of everything of this chronic neck pain. Who caused? What was the original cause? Well, chicken or the egg? So
Well, I think that you're a genius in your field, and we're lucky to, pick your brain, and we're gonna do more of it in the weekend that we're gonna get together. So again, thank you so much for sharing, and I'm looking forward to learning more from you and teaching with you as well.
Well, I'm
So
looking forward to it too, Mark. We got to put our heads together about some of our ideas on the tongue.
absolutely, that stuff is coming up.
Yes.
Yes, gentlemen, we're very excited. This for those watching, I think it's also should be a valuable thing to share that this might be a once in a lifetime opportunity to experience a seminar with the two of you there together. This has never happened before, and this is kind of the first time, and maybe the only time, unless we can get Mark to go to the East Coast here pretty soon. So it's a very rare opportunity is what I'm trying to say. Now, part of the reason for me engaging the two of you is my desire is to continue to improve the presentation of the material, the curriculum, to take what Dad created and move it forward for future generations. And part of that challenge today is I would like to ask that we give the viewers something tangible that they can take into their clinic starting today, starting as soon as they wrap up this video, that would scratch the surface of what's covered in level 4 and give them some actionable items that they can start playing with in order to help convince them that this is actually something they need to join us for.
Yeah, way to put us on the spot, right, Eric?
I told you it was going to be a challenge. Well, we're talking lateral kinetic chain. Can we go a level deeper? Maybe Mark or Frank, how are you putting it into practice?
Well, that's a really good question because, again, I think the beauty of things that we've been teaching in PERT is the ability to take the techniques and everything that we teach and integrate in whatever people do at their own clinics. So I think that there is a way to apply it. If you're a massage therapist, there is a way to apply it as a chiropractor. There's a way to apply it even, as an acupuncturist. So for me personal, again, I'm kind of like Frank, stuck in few different protocols together. But I found that whatever they're about to learn in this seminar, it's going to be a major, let's call it a speed up process. It helps to move through analysis of where to go and where to concentrate on the body. It helps to identify where you need to spend a little bit more time, and it gives you a very quick feedback. Are you on track, or you need to be focusing somewhere else? So it's very difficult to describe it in a teaser of just focus on this one body part, because there is no two people that we see are the same. But the paradigm will change, because now instead of just doing maybe a full 1 minute exam or 2 minute exam, people will be able to tune in and start paying attention to how somebody walks into the office. What is their posture? Are they standing equal on both legs, or they're leaning on one side? And if they're noticing some of the discrepancies, one shoulder jacked up and versus the other one, they don't necessarily go directly to try to address the tension in the neck and shoulders. They may want to start at the bottom and see where it leads them. Do you agree with that, Frank?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and another outcome of this, we talk often about being intuitive as we work, and we just move from one spot to another in the body. This will lead you to be more intuitive or move quickly from one area to another area, knowing that you have to do something else. And I think varying what you do, let's say you have a leg and foot problem, right? And I start treating the neck, and the leg and foot gets better. and I go back and treat the foot, and I go back and treat the neck. Doing that adds a certain amount of confusion in the body, and it gets a certain amount of input, so it relaxes faster, I think. I'm not sure yet. But Eric was asking about a specific technique. So one of the first things I check with patients when they come in is head and neck rotation. And I'll give you a whole lecture on why I think that's important. So check rotation, and you'll find usually at C1, C2 articular pillar, it's going to be tender if it's limited on that side. Now go down to the foot and check between the first and second metatarsal bones over the adductor hallucis and see if it's tender. Do whatever technique you know how to treat C1, C2, or upper cervical spine, and then go down and recheck adductor hallucis on the plantar surface of the first and second metatarsal bones. It should be improved. So that's the one technique. I'm not giving you how I would do it, but I'm just doing that. You just check that out. See how often that is. And if it's not tender under the same side as the C1, C2 is tender or painful, between the first and second metatarsals, if it's not tender there, it'll be tender on the opposite foot over the medial metatarsal tarsal joint of the first metatarsal. So the navicular, between the navicular and the first metatarsal, it'll be tender there. So
there you have it.
That is perfect.
I just
that's
give
exactly,
you a little teaser there, and that's, I think, is a big point.
Now, if the viewers want to see how you would treat it, like you just said, they have to join us for level 4.
Yes.
They have to. Perfect. I also wanted to share before we go, just real quickly, I got an email this morning from Benjamin Perro in New York. He said, I highly recommend that any current level 4 or level 5 PRRT practitioner take the updated level 4 seminar. While there will be some review from previous seminars and carryover, this really is a new seminar. Frank's contributions and additions could rightly be its own course and is worth the investment in and of itself. Frank sharing his years of experience and wisdom you will walk away with new insights, techniques, and tools that will quickly become part of your day-to-day PRRT practice. This is not a retake of level 4. This is a continuation of your PRRT education and body of work. So
thank you, Ben. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Couldn't have said it better. I mean, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, I have a special offer for the viewers that I will share in just a moment, but I wanted to be sure and say thank you both for your time today. This was awesome. It's exactly what I wanted to get out and share with our viewers. So thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.